What's up, guys? Welcome to Bookster Nick. I am sick. I'm not actually sick, but welcome to Bookster Nick. I am sick. Happy to have you guys here. I've started this intro about 3 times now, and I keep having sneeze attacks. I think the dust in my house is really, really bad right now. We are in kind of dust mode at the in the time of the climate or whatever. The time of the climate. What am I talking about? It's like coming into spring, so the windows are opening and closing more. Things are kicking up more than they otherwise might be. So I'm feeling it a little bit today, more than other days. It's just been a bit of a sneeze festival. Anyways, happy to have you guys here in what is going to be kind of an old school episode in the sense that I'm not taking you guys anywhere today. We're just here at my desk as per usual. Got some book stuff to talk to you about, some life stuff. And yeah, not putting on any video glasses and going over to a coffee shop. I'm not at a cottage. I'm just here. So welcome back. Welcome back here. I love being here. I love that you're here. Look at us go. Okay, books. Book things I'm going to talk about today. My favorite book of the year so far. We're coming up to April. That's the we're a quarter of the way through. See, I went to school. Quarter of the way through, and so I'm going to tell you guys what my favorite book so far of the year is. You might be able to guess. Throw a guess before I mention it down below. Maybe you'll get it right. I don't know. Might be sneaky. Maybe not. We'll see. You'll see. We're all going to see. Also got some Stephen King stuff I'm going to mention, some book club stuff, and just, basic stuff like that. So let's jump into it. First off, I do want to mention a Stephen King night that I went to just 2 nights ago. It was really, really fun. It was a March Madness style Stephen King event where just a bunch of huge Stephen King fans got together and we basically battled it out, kind of argued for which books we thought were better when they were up against each other, and finally got to the end to determine, at least in that small group, what would be considered the greatest Stephen King book of all time. There were some surprises. The biggest surprise probably being that The Stand went up against The Long Walk, and The Long Walk won by 1 vote, I believe it was. The Long Walk prevailed and knocked out The Stand. I voted for The Stand. As much as I love The Long Walk, I was pretty surprised by that outcome, but you know what? Everybody there was pleading their case for The Long Walk, and the more I listened to them and how passionate they were, I was like, well, you know what? They're making some sense here. These guys were so knowledgeable that they were telling me about books I've already read, and I was like, whoa, I had no idea. It was a pretty fun night. So the 2 books that made it to the end probably aren't surprising. The 2 that made it to the end to battle against each other were Pet Sematary and It. So you can throw maybe another guess down below if you really want to for which one you think might have won between It and Pet Sematary. Again, it came down to 1 vote. 1 vote was the decider, and It ended up being the winner. Maybe not overly surprising. I don't think it's that surprising. It's probably the most well-known, if not at least one of the most well-known Stephen King books. Pennywise is just kind of ingrained into... Everybody knows Pennywise. Even if you've never read Stephen King, you know Pennywise. You're aware of Pennywise. You're aware of the book It. So... yeah, I think it's a worthy champion, and it was just a really, really fun night. And so what I'm actually going to be doing tonight, today is Saturday the 29th, so tonight over on the book club, in the Discord, we will be doing our own March Madness Stephen King event that I'm going to be hosting, just purely for fun, but I've already got my list of books that are going to be battling it out against each other, and we're gonna have a round 2 basically tonight with my book club, and we're gonna see if maybe we come up with a different finale. Might end up being the complete same. Who knows? But it's still gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. If you're curious to know the 16 books I've picked for my own Stephen King March Madness, I will let you know what they are. I've got Pet Sematary. The thing with it when I was doing it is like I feel like there's a very clear and obvious 10 or 12, but that 13 to 16, it does get a little bit like, well, you could do this one instead of this one or this one. It does get a little bit more, you could make your case for something else. But these are the ones that I chose. Let me know if you think I missed anything, if there's a book that you think should absolutely be on this list. But the ones I chose were Pet Sematary, Misery, Carrie, Salem's Lot, It, 11/22/63, The Long Walk, Christine, The Green Mile, The Stand, The Eye of the Dragon, Cujo, Under the Dome, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, Needful Things, and Fairy Tale. Let me know what you think. The ones I can already hear people screaming at their screen about are probably The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon and maybe Fairy Tale. I think those are maybe the two on there where you could definitely, again, make a case for a different book being in its place. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. I am curious. Nothing's set in stone. Maybe I'll make some changes before tonight. But yeah, I've got my lineup set. I'm not going to share them here. It's going to be a surprise tonight over on the Discord. Again, so if you guys, so every now and again, there's a message of like, hey, what's the best way to like support you? Can I buy you something? The best way, honestly, is just below. If you hit just like, and if you want to subscribe, I feel really cringy asking people to do that, but it is something that really helps, and it is super free. You don't have to pay anything. If you really want to go nuts, you can join the Patreon, which is my book club, which also gives you access to the Discord, which is where the Stephen King March Madness bracket will be held tonight. That's probably like top tier thing you could do if you are so inclined. But there's no pressure because I'm here and you're here and we're just having fun. So whatever. So that's what's going on there. Speaking of Stephen King, going to this night really kind of recharged me on the Stephen King world and has made me really want to jump back into to his world because it's been a minute. The last real Stephen King book I read was a reread of 11/22/63, and I've got the itch, especially after hearing all these people talk about their just pure obsession and love and passion for Stephen King. I'm like, wow, I got to get back in here, man. It's like, and I'm like physically itchy to get back into Stephen King. And so, two books that were on the bracket the night I went to that surprised me are Revival and From a Buick 8. And if nothing else, I came out of that night realizing that those are two books that I really need to read. The host of that night, his name's Elliot, really cool guy. He said at the end of the night, if you take nothing else away from this, just know that you need to read From a Buick 8 and Revival. They are sleepers, amazing books, totally unexpected. And so now I'm like, okay, I've got both, and I think those are going to be my next two. The other big one, too, is probably Under the Dome. A lot of people were talking about Under the Dome, and I've not read Under the Dome. It's one that it's kind of just been staring me in the face for years now. It's a big book. It's a long book. I know the ending is not supposed to be good. I'm not going to spoil it. I kind of have had the ending spoiled for me, and from the spoiler I received, I can confirm bummer of an ending. But the journey to that ending, regardless of the ending, the journey is worth it. You know, the characters are fantastic. Apparently the story is great up until the end. So if you can kind of just suck it up for the ending, Under the Dome is supposed to be pretty phenomenal. And so I'll be jumping into that one as well. Yeah, so I don't know. Big heavy Stephen King intro here. I'm just like, I'm really jazzed to get back into Stephen King's wheelhouse. He's on Threads now too, by the way, which seems like mildly more approachable. I keep sending little messages, and I'm like, at Stephen King, just in case you think this is cool. No attention yet, but maybe one day it'll happen. If he even just gives me a lowercase LOL on something, I'll die happy. I will quite literally die happy. So that's what's happening there. I've got a few book pickups to share with you guys. I'll get into those right now. First up is this one here. I'm going to share this one first because I've already read this. I picked it up and read it the same day pretty much. This is My Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. Joan Didion's an author that I didn't really know existed, if I'm going to be completely honest, up until about 2 weeks ago. I heard some people talking about her over in my book club, and she seemed really cool. I looked into her a little bit, and I was like, okay. And then when I was at the bookstore, this was one of the highlighted books, like, oh, this is really good. And so I picked it up, read it, and yeah, guess what? It was really good. This is about Joan's experience in losing her husband. I apologize if I've mentioned this book on here before. I cannot remember, if I'm completely honest. But her husband dies of a heart attack right in front of her after they've just come home from visiting their daughter, who was in a medically induced coma at the hospital. Very insane situation. And she basically recounts it in great detail and basically brings you into her mind as the entire thing's unfolding. It also, of course, follows about a year of grief that comes afterwards. And it's just really beautifully written, and I'm looking forward to getting into some more Joan Didion. She's got one about the loss of her daughter. called Blue Knights that I believe came out after this one that I will be checking out for sure. But there's a couple others that people, the titles are escaping me at the moment, but there's a couple others that people are like, you gotta read these ones. I just can't remember what they are. The other next pickup here I have is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? You tell me, because I'm not really sure. I love this title. This is the book that spawned Blade Runner, one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm a big Blade Runner fan. I used to watch that movie a lot. And that it's so atmospheric, that movie. I just feel like I'm genuinely being transported to somewhere else that's just rainy. And anyway, so I'm told that the book is really different, but looking forward to checking it out. It's not that long, really. I want to say, well, I'll tell you right now, it's about 190 pages. So very crushable. Looking forward to that one. Got another nonfiction book here. This is called The Stranger in the Woods. This is by Michael Finkel, which is a really fun name to say. This is the extraordinary life of the last true hermit. This is about a man who basically is just fed up with the modern day world and goes to live as a hermit for I think about 30 years maybe in the outskirts of Maine. And basically just gets by stealing food from neighbors and just doing what he can to basically stay alive but stay disconnected from the modern world. So very interested to read that. I've heard great things. I've heard some mixed things too, though. I've heard that some people finish that book and they're like, I don't like that guy at all. But I think he's probably a very complex character. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. The final one here, this is a big book release of the past couple weeks. People have been really looking forward to this one. This is The Buffalo Hunter. This is by Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones is most well known for writing The Only Good Indians, which is a book I keep intending to read but have not read yet. So I'm looking forward to this probably being my first Stephen Graham Jones book, The Buffalo Hunter. I love the cover. That is, to me, just a beautiful cover. This will be my second Buffalo-based book this year, which is weird. The other one being Butcher's Crossing. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. I will tell you now what my favorite book of the year is so far, because I know you're all just dying to know. My opinion is so valuable. I've read some pretty amazing books this year. As I just mentioned, Butcher's Crossing is up there. I really genuinely love that one quite a bit. Demon Copperhead, incredible book. Even as I'm giving my answer here, I'm like, oh man, am I screwing this up? Even little books like The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, really love that one. But I have a winner. I have a clear favorite for me this year. I know I just said I was going back and forth, but if I'm completely honest with myself, my favorite book of this year so far is this one here. This is The Heart's Invisible Furies. This is by John Boyne. The thing that I love so much about this book is that I read because reading helps my very emotionless body feel emotion. And this book made me feel every emotion I think that exists on the planet. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh my gosh, I was so sad, I was so whatever. I was genuinely laughing, like hysterically laughing, and I was genuinely having my heart ripped out. I was really feeling everything. I really was, okay? I'm not kidding. This is the story of a man named Cyril Avery, who is a gay man in Ireland, and what makes that complicated is Ireland is a very conservative area, and so his life is just naturally going to be very difficult. And so we follow him from childhood, the 1940s, I believe, until the early 21st century. And it's just, there's so many twists and turns, so many characters that are just so authentic and so believable and so, I say real a lot, but just so real. And the journey that Cyril goes on and the people that he meets along the way, the challenges he faces, the humor in this book, it's one of my favorite things I've ever read. My favorite book of the year, hands down. So if you are looking for something, it's not, it's long. We're talking 600-ish pages. I believe, I want to say the audiobook is about 24 hours, something like that. It's not a quick read, but it's one you're going to love. I have to believe most people are going to love this book. Of course, not everybody is, but for me, this is top of the pops. Absolutely loved it. Heart's Invisible Furies. Please please, if you're looking for something new, give it a go. I just love it. I got to check out some more John Boyne. John Boyne actually also wrote The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is probably a more well-known one that you may have heard of. But this is, yeah, man, oh man. So, yeah, gearing up for Shogun now. You know, March is coming to a close. We're reading Shogun for the month of April for my book club. I've got my copy here. Give me 1 second. I can share this with you because, holy cow. This, like, tell me what you guys think. Looking at this, if I told you this is going to be by far the longest book I've ever read, would you believe me looking at this? Because, like, yeah, it looks long, but it's not insane. The paper in here is quite thin. And the margins are what you'd expect. This book is about 1,500 pages, 1,300 pages. The audiobook for this is 54 hours long, I believe. For a reference point, it is, I think, is 47 hours, and The Stand is 48 hours, something like that. So Shogun is about 5-6 hours longer than both of those books, which is pretty crazy, because when I finished The Stand, I was like, that will be the longest book I ever read. Hands down. Not the case. Shogun's going to take it. This book was $70. I need to mention that because it's still bugging me. It's $70, and look what's on there. We have an unremovable Hulu sticker. Boo. Boo. But you know what? And I do want to mention real quick, I'm Canadian. I'm in Canada. $70 Canadian. I mentioned that over on my socials, and a lot of people were like, what are you seeing $70 for? It's $49 everywhere. 70 Canadian is about 49 American. So, yeah. Really expensive. Probably the most expensive book I've bought at a bookstore. You know, that's not like a special, you know, I'm having it mailed in or something like that. I think it's the most expensive book I've ever picked up at a bookstore. That said, this is kind of two parts that they've put into one. You can buy part 1 and part 2, but they fit both parts into here. Anyways, that's going to be our book for April. I honestly can't wait. I'm really, really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great time. I mentioned it before, but a lot of people say that, you know, Shogun takes about 100 pages to settle in, and once you're settled, you are settled, and you're in for maybe the time of your life. So, anyways, again, just wanted to mention the Patreon. So appreciate you. I know I mentioned a lot. I apologize. I really try not to be like salesy. I really don't, honestly, but I do really appreciate everybody who's signed up over there and is throwing me some support. I'm over there every single day, talking, chatting, sharing things. I try to be as active as possible over there because I want people to not feel like they're just throwing their $5 a month away at me. So yeah, anyways, that's that. The mugs are shipping out in the next couple of days. I finally got all the packaging in. It took me a minute to get all the packaging to me and to figure out what exactly I'm going to need. Mugs are a different world. Shirts you throw in a bag and you send it. Mugs are different. But yeah, these are on the way in the next couple of days. So look forward to that. Thank you guys for grabbing one. And that's going to do it for Bookster Nick and being sick, and just, you know, super appreciate you guys being here. I really, really do. Gonna have just more fun book stuff coming up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, you know what I wanted to mention before I go, actually. Speaking of the P word, the Page. Lindsay and I are doing audio-only Book Sniffer episodes every week. That will be Patreon only. So my wife and I do a little kind of casual, chaotic book podcast called Book Sniffers, and we record them over at Rooney's, which is our coffee shop we're at that I showed you last week. It's just kind of ambient coffee background noise while we talk about our week of books. So that is going to be over there as well if you're interested. Apologies. Okay, thank you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. You know what I mean? Read some books, have some fun. Love ya.